Are you ready for the ultimate Zarpado compilation facts? Subscribe and let's start. Dalmatians are born completely white. Those iconic black spots don't show up from day one, they appear weeks after birth, when the gene that triggers pigmentation finally switches on. Even the most recognizable animals alive are hiding surprises. In 1989, Pepsi made one of the most surreal deals in business history. In exchange for selling its drinks in the Soviet Union, the company received commercial ships, tanks, and decommissioned submarines. The Valdivia earthquake that struck Chile in 1960 is the most powerful ever recorded, magnitude 9.5. It shook for over 10 minutes, then sent a tsunami racing across the Pacific. The disaster completely reshaped how the world measures and monitors seismic activity. In Bali, the monkeys have figured out extortion. They steal tourist sunglasses, cameras, anything they can grab, and they only give it back in exchange for food. This isn't random theft. It's a learned negotiation strategy. The most unlikely business minds in the animal kingdom. The Lady Amherst pheasant looks like someone invented it for a fantasy film. White, emerald green, deep red, black patterns so precise they look hand-embroidered. Its tail stretches over 3 feet long, and every time it moves, the colors seem to ignite. It's so rare in the wild that people who see one think they're imagining things. Squirrels are accidentally reforesting the planet. They bury nuts to eat later and constantly forget where they put them. Those forgotten seeds sprout into trees. One tiny act of forgetfulness, repeated for centuries, reshaping entire forests. Grumpy Cat's real name was tartar sauce. That permanently annoyed expression wasn't attitude, it was a genetic condition. One viral photo turned into a global phenomenon. Millions of followers, books, merchandise, and an online store, all because of a face she couldn't help making. The Rimac Nevera is the fastest accelerating car on Earth. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.74 seconds. 0 to 250 miles per hour in just over 17. 4 electric motors producing 1,914 horsepower. This thing doesn't drive, it launches. The fire snail lives deep in the tropical rainforests of Malaysia. A vivid red body, a glossy black shell, it looks like it shouldn't be real. It can only survive in extremely specific conditions, which means spotting one is essentially a sign that the ecosystem around it is in perfect health, a living indicator light for the forest. Japanese researchers build a robotic tail for humans. Inspired by how animals use their tails for balance, it reads your body's movements in real time and adjusts itself automatically. It straps on like a harness and has real potential in sports, physical rehab, and mobility assistance. The future is weird and we're here for it. In some schools in China, the desks convert into beds for nap time. The furniture reconfigures right there in the classroom, no need to go anywhere. The science backs it up. A short rest during the school day sharpens focus and boosts performance. Naps are officially curriculum now. Baby animals are manipulative little geniuses. Bird chicks scream relentlessly until they get fed, even when they're old enough to feed themselves. Some puppies fake injuries for attention. Primates literally grab and pull their mothers to get what they want. Drama is not a human invention. Nature got there first. Himalayan black salt, also called kalanamak, smells like hard-boiled eggs. That's not a flaw, it's the point. Iron and sulfur minerals give it a flavor so close to egg that it's become a staple in Indian vegan cooking. Want scrambled tofu that actually tastes like eggs? This is the secret. In Austria, Germany, and Hungary, they celebrate Krampus parades. Half goat, half demon, this creature is Santa's dark counterpart, and his job is to terrify children who misbehaved. People dress up in full costume and take to the streets in a tradition that's centuries old and completely unapologetic about it. On one island in Brazil, police patrol on water buffalo. The terrain is so swampy and flood-prone that cars and motorcycles are useless. Buffalo can go where nothing else can. It's traditional, it's practical, and it works. Sometimes the old ways genuinely can't be beaten. On the coast of the Bohai Sea in China, there's a library that sits completely alone facing an empty beach. Designed by architect Dong Gong, floor-to-ceiling windows flood the space with natural light. No noise, no crowds, just pages in the sea. It might be the most peaceful room on Earth. The pygmy marmoset is the world's smallest monkey, about 6 inches tall, less than 4.5 ounces. It lives in the Amazon and survives almost entirely on tree sap, making it one of the most specialized primates on the planet. Tiny, razor-sharp, and faster than it has any right to be. The animal robot, built by engineers at ETH Zurich, can walk on 4 legs or switch to wheels depending on the terrain. Sensors read the environment in real time and shift its movement mode automatically. It's a machine that adapts the way animals do, and it's only getting smarter. China approved commercial autonomous flying taxis, no pilot, fully electric, vertical takeoff and landing, designed to cut straight through urban congestion and get you where you're going faster and with fewer human errors. Urban air travel is no longer science fiction, it's a licensed service. Before CGI, before stunt coordinators made it glamorous, Mary Wiggins was already jumping out of moving cars and hanging off buildings. One of Hollywood's first female stunt doubles, working in an industry that was almost entirely male. She didn't wait for permission. She just did the job better than anyone else. The Northeast Greenland National Park is one of the largest protected areas on Earth, bigger than Venezuela. Almost no humans live there, but polar bears, reindeer, and species found nowhere else do. It's less a park and more a parallel world, almost entirely untouched. Bombay Beach in California sits on the shore of the Salton Sea, a mistake that became a ghost town. A failed attempt to reroute the Colorado River flooded the area and then slowly dried up, leaving buildings half collapsed and streets swallowed by salt flats. Barely anyone lives there now. Filmmakers and artists can't get enough of it. Red love apples are red all the way through. Not just the skin, the flesh inside is deep crimson too. Developed by Swiss farmer Marcus Kobelt and introduced commercially in 2010, they're sweet, crisp, and come in at least 7 distinct varieties now grown across Europe. An apple that looks like it was designed by someone who thought regular apples were too subtle. South Korea developed an exoskeleton that lets wheelchair users walk on their own. The device attaches to the body, moves the legs using simple commands, and gives back mobility and independence to people who had lost it. This is what technology is actually for. For a few weeks every year, Japan becomes something else entirely. Cherry blossom season sakura turns streets, parks, and riverbanks into pink and white dreamscapes. Thousands of trees bloom at once, and people gather beneath falling petals to sit together and appreciate something beautiful that won't last. It's philosophy disguised as a flower. The Peabody Hotel in Memphis has a twice-daily duck parade. Every morning and evening, a group of ducks rides the elevator down from the rooftop, walks a red carpet, and settles into the lobby fountain. The tradition started in the 1930s and never stopped. Guests plan their visits around it. The blue-footed booby uses its feet to flirt. Males dance in front of females and show off their feet because the brighter the blue, the healthier the male. The color comes directly from their diet. It's one of the most visually striking courtship displays in nature, and it's basically a health check disguised as a dance. Volcano boarding is exactly what it sounds like. You strap onto a board and ride down the side of an active volcano. Toxic gases nearby, potential lava in the vicinity, maximum adrenaline. It's most popular in Nicaragua and Chile, where the volcanoes are active and the views are absolutely insane. Definitely not recommended. Definitely happening every weekend. Vinicunca, the rainbow mountain of Peru, looks like someone painted it. Red, yellow, green, white, all layered in sweeping bands across the rock. Each color is a different mineral deposited over millions of years of geological history. It's real, it's that vivid, and it's one of the most striking landscapes on the planet. Some veterinary clinics use underwater treadmills to help injured dogs recover. The water reduces the impact on joints while keeping the muscles working. Dogs rebuild strength without the pain of normal exercise, and most of them actually seem to enjoy it. Hydrotherapy works on humans, it works on dogs, and watching it is inexplicably wholesome. In Sweden, a company called Corbett Cleaning trained crows to pick up cigarette butts off the streets and rewarded them with food. Crows are highly intelligent and fast learners, and they took to the task quickly. It's a genuine partnership between humans and birds to keep cities cleaner. Honestly, the crows are doing more than most people. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez's wedding in Venice in 2025 was historic. Estimated budget, 50 million euros, private museum parties, yacht tours, the works. Beyond the spectacle, economists estimated the event generated nearly 1 billion euros in tourist visibility for the city. Venice trended globally for weeks. Janice is a two-headed tortoise born in 1997 in Switzerland, and she's still alive living at the Natural History Museum in Geneva. Each head has its own brain, its own personality, and its own control over movement. The two heads don't always agree on which direction to go. Because of her anatomy, she can't fully retract into her shell, which would make survival in the wild basically impossible. Under specialized care, she's thriving. The Writer Automaton, built by Pierre-Jacques Droz between 1769 and 1774, could write any pre-programmed text up to 40 characters long with a quill, on paper mimicking human handwriting. It was built before electricity existed. One of the earliest programmable machines ever created. The longest surviving Tamagotchi in recorded history lived 89 days. For context, that thing beeped at you in the middle of the night, and you had to wake up to feed it, or it died. Keeping one alive for nearly 3 months wasn't a game, it was a commitment. And somehow, someone made it almost 3 months. Cuneiform writing is over 5,000 years old. The Sumerians pressed wedge-shaped marks into clay tablets using a stylus, recording laws, transactions, and eventually, the world's first organized literature. Everything you've ever read traces back to someone pressing a stick into mud and deciding that ideas were worth keeping. In curling, sweeping the ice actually changes everything. Players use brooms to reduce friction directly in front of the moving stone, controlling its speed, distance, and curve in real time. A few seconds of sweeping can completely redirect the shot. It's physics and strategy happening simultaneously, at full sprint, on ice, far more intense than it looks. Portable air purifying necklaces exist, no mask required. The device generates a bubble of clean air around your head using 95 filtration, UV light, and carbon filtering. 8-hour battery life. Designed for people with severe allergies or anyone living with serious air pollution every single day. Wearable clean air. We live in the future. The Gravity Industries jet suit straps 1,000 horsepower worth of jet engines to your hands and back. It can reach altitudes of 3,280 feet and has already been used in real emergency rescues, letting responders reach locations that were previously inaccessible. Personal flight exists. It's loud, it's terrifying, and it actually works. Some chimpanzees, when placed in front of a mirror, stop. They look. And then they start examining themselves, checking spots they've never been able to see before. That moment of recognition means something profound. They know they're looking at themselves. First documented by psychologist Gordon Gallup in 1970, it remains one of the rarest cognitive abilities found anywhere in the animal kingdom. At Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they fill your beer from the bottom. A pressurized system pushes the drink up through a valve in the base of the cup, fast, cold, and almost zero foam. No more waiting in line for half the game, just grab it and go. The Seminole Hard Rock Hotel in Hollywood, Florida, is shaped like a giant electric guitar. 35 floors, about 450 feet tall. At night, the entire facade lights up in a full-color show visible from miles away. It's not just a hotel, it's a landmark you can see from the sky. The ICE HRP robot was built to do jobs too dangerous for humans. It can lift heavy objects, tighten bolts, open doors, and navigate through tight or hazardous spaces. Designed specifically for industries like railways where conditions get extreme, it goes where people shouldn't have to go. Adriana Macias was born without arms. She taught herself to write, paint, and use her phone, all with her feet, and she does it with complete naturalness. Today, she's a speaker and author whose message on self-love and overcoming mental limitations has moved thousands of people around the world. She didn't adapt to the world, she mastered it. In Japan, a zoo sold jeans destroyed by tigers and lions. Kamine Zoo in Hitachi let big cats claw and shred denim during controlled sessions, then sold the finished pairs at a premium. Every rip, every tear made by an actual apex predator. The proceeds went to animal conservation. In China, they relocated a 30,000-ton bus station without demolishing it and without shutting it down. Hydraulic systems rotated the entire building to align it with a new subway line. Slow, precise, controlled. Not a single brick wasted. Urban engineering at a level most cities can't even imagine. Flossie the cat made it into the Guinness World Records as the oldest living domestic cat. In 2022, she turned 26 years old, the equivalent of roughly 120 human years, living proof that good care, proper nutrition, and a lot of love can do extraordinary things for a pet's lifespan. Taxidermy is the art of making dead animals look alive. The body is hollowed out, then filled with foam, wire, or other materials to restore its original shape. A skilled taxidermist can recreate natural poses and facial expressions, so convincing the animal looks like it could move at any moment. It's equal parts craft, science, and something that'll make you do a double take. There's a Swiss watch that runs counterclockwise. Fully functional, perfectly accurate, just completely backwards. Reading it forces your brain to rewire how it processes time. It's not a novelty item. It's a philosophical statement wearing a leather strap, built for people who prefer to question everything, starting with what's on their wrist. Tolantongo Park in Mexico looks like a different planet. Thermal waterfalls pouring down cliff faces, rivers of turquoise water, steaming caves carved into the rock. The hot water rises naturally from underground and forms pools and pathways through a landscape that doesn't look real. It's one of Mexico's most stunning natural destinations, and most people outside the country have never heard of it. Every year in Poznań, Poland, artists from around the world turn the city square into a gallery of ice. Using chainsaws and chisels, they carve massive blocks into detailed sculptures right in front of live audiences. Then the temperature rises and it all melts. That's the point. The most beautiful things sometimes only exist for a moment. Puffins can catch over a dozen fish in a single dive. Their beaks are specially designed to grip multiple fish at once while staying submerged. They're also excellent swimmers. Everything about a puffin is engineered by millions of years of evolution to be exactly as efficient as possible. Small bird, extraordinary machine. Kangaroos in Australia don't stay in the outback. They show up at soccer matches, wander into suburban backyards, and cruise through city streets. And despite looking goofy, they can be genuinely dangerous when they feel threatened. One skydiver found this out the hard way. He landed directly in front of a kangaroo that immediately started throwing punches. The roo did not welcome him. Black 3.0 pigment absorbs up to 99% of visible light. When you paint it on a three-dimensional object, a ball, a sculpture, anything, it loses all sense of depth and just looks like a flat black void. In Brazil, police waited patiently for a wanted criminal to turn 18. The law only allowed his arrest once he reached adulthood, So officers showed up on his actual birthday to make the arrest. No loopholes, no rushing, just the law, used exactly as written with perfect timing. Justice arrived right on schedule with a cake's worth of irony. A Japanese astronaut brought dehydrated sushi to space, complete with soy sauce in compressed tubes, the first Japanese cuisine menu ever served in orbit. It went viral worldwide and proved that even in zero gravity, culture doesn't disappear. You can be floating above the Earth and still eat like you're in Tokyo. The Boston Dynamics Spot robot is now working with the New York City Police Department. It enters collapsed buildings, disaster zones, and high-risk locations, streaming live footage back to officers in real time. It goes first so people don't have to. The future of law enforcement isn't flying cars. It's a four-legged robot with a camera. The Golden Summit Temple sits at the peak of Mount Imei in China, over 9,800 feet above sea level. Getting there means climbing thousands of steps cut directly into the rock face. At the top, you're surrounded by clouds, mountains, and total silence. The effort is the point, the view is the reward. Sodalite rocks look like nothing special in natural light. Then you hit them with ultraviolet light and they explode in colors that seem physically impossible for a rock. Collectors and mineralogists hunt for them specifically because of this hidden quality. A reminder that what you see on the surface is almost never the whole story. The original Xbox prototype looked like a prop from a sci-fi film. Aggressive, angular, almost alien in design. That early concept set the tone for everything Microsoft would build in gaming, a deliberate push toward power and ambition that reshaped the entire industry. One weird-looking machine changed everything. Antonio Romero Montero owns the world's largest video game collection. Over 20,000 games, more than 100 different consoles. Rare titles, limited editions, spanning from the very first games ever made to current-gen platforms, officially recognized by the Guinness World Records. His home is essentially a museum that happens to be someone's house. Three-dimensional printed dresses are rewriting what fashion can even be. Made from biodegradable resins, completely seamless, with shapes and textures that are physically impossible to achieve with traditional sewing. Less material waste, fully customizable fit, clothing designed by a computer, built layer by layer, and unlike anything you've ever seen on a rack. BeachBot is a robot that autonomously cleans plastic and trash off beaches. It uses sensors to detect debris in the sand and collects it without any human intervention. Built by Dutch researchers to stop waste before it reaches the ocean. It doesn't get tired, it doesn't take days off, and it doesn't need to be asked twice. In Japan, a Pokémon exhibition fused the franchise with traditional Japanese artistry. Ceramics, weaving, goldsmithing master craftspeople reinterpreted iconic Pokémon characters using techniques centuries old. Hand-painted pottery, delicate jewelry, a celebration of how far the franchise has come and how deep Japanese craftsmanship runs. Ancient skills, very familiar faces. Solving a Rubik's Cube is already hard. Solving it while juggling is something only a handful of people on Earth can actually do. Both hands occupied, both tasks running simultaneously. The kind of focus required is almost incomprehensible. When you see it live, your brain just refuses to fully accept what it's watching. A building in Guiyang, China has a waterfall cascading down its facade, 354 feet of falling water. It activates for special events, lit up in full color as it drops. Architecture that incorporates nature as a design element, not a backdrop. It's not just a building with a waterfall. It's a building that performs. Hyper-realistic silicone masks have gotten so detailed that they can fool the human eye completely. Skin texture, pores, wrinkles. The techniques used to make them produce results almost indistinguishable from a real face. Used in film, theater, and visual arts, they've changed what's possible when it comes to physical transformation. You genuinely cannot tell. The Geminoid High One is a robot built to look exactly like its creator, engineer Hiroshi Ishiguro. It replicates his facial expressions in real time using high-quality silicone skin and advanced sensor technology. Sitting across from it is reportedly one of the most unsettling experiences in robotics. You know it's a machine, your brain keeps disagreeing. Artist Tobias Gremler used motion capture technology to digitize kung fu movements and transform them into abstract visual art. Every strike, every stance rendered as fluid, geometric forms that move like living sculptures. His work has been exhibited internationally. He took an ancient martial art and turned it into something you'd hang on a gallery wall. Fighting fire with fire is an actual, widely used firefighting technique. Aircraft deliberately burn specific sections of land to create barriers that cut off the fuel supply to a larger fire. The flames stop because there's nothing left to burn. When executed correctly, a controlled burn prevents a catastrophic one. Sometimes the best way to fight destruction is with a smaller, smarter version of it. Adidas made sneakers using carbon three-dimensional printing, and the soles have a structure unlike anything produced with traditional manufacturing. The design is based on the biomechanics of the human foot, how it absorbs impact, how it flexes, how weight shifts during movement. The shoe adapts to the runner, a milestone in footwear that changes what performance even means. The world's most expensive burger costs $5,400. Caviar, white truffle, bread covered in edible gold. Available at an elite restaurant for people who apparently find regular burgers too accessible. It's the ultimate meeting point of the world's most democratic food and the most absurd levels of luxury. Someone ordered it, multiple someones. At the Brazil Open tennis tournament, the ball kids are dogs. Trained dogs sprint onto the court, collect the balls, and deliver them to players and referees with speed and precision. The crowd loves it. The players love it. It's completely functional and completely ridiculous in the best possible way. Dogs making professional tennis more fun, nobody saw that coming. There's a Chinese hyper-realist painter whose portraits are so detailed they fool cameras. Every pore, every strand of hair, every shadow rendered by hand, with no digital tools involved. Standing in front of one of his paintings is like looking at a real person frozen in time. The brush did that, a human hand. Completely impossible-looking work done entirely the old-fashioned way. In South Korea, the neighborhood of Gamcheon was transformed into a living outdoor museum. Over 100 murals painted by local artists and residents cover every wall and alley, turning a forgotten neighborhood into a vibrant cultural destination. What was once overlooked is now a place people travel specifically to see. Art didn't just decorate the neighborhood, it saved it. The Arcax robot, built in Tokyo by Tsubame Industries, stands nearly 15 feet tall and weighs over 7,700 pounds. It transforms like an actual mecha into a functional pilot cockpit, and it's for sale right now for approximately $3 million. We spent decades watching giant robots in movies and anime. Now you can just buy one. One artist builds sculptures entirely from scrap metal, rusted gears, broken chains, discarded fragments. From that heap of junk, animals, human figures, and creatures that don't exist in nature take shape. He doesn't hide what the materials are. He lets them be exactly what they are and finds the form hidden inside. The result makes you rethink what you throw away. Seattle's Space Needle stands 604 feet tall and was built in 1962 for the World's Fair. At the top, a rotating restaurant offers full panoramic views of the city. The elevator gets you there in under 40 seconds. It was built as a temporary structure for a single event and became one of America's most recognized landmarks. Nobody planned for it to matter this much. It did anyway. 360-degree photography doesn't just capture a moment, it captures an entire space. Every direction, from a single point, all at once. You can revisit it and look anywhere you want, like stepping back into a frozen version of that exact moment. Used in tourism, architecture, events, and virtual reality, it doesn't replace memory. It replaces forgetting. A Japanese artist can draw two completely different portraits at the same time, one with each hand. While the right hand sketches a man's face, the left is simultaneously building an entirely different woman's portrait. Two independent creative processes running in parallel, in the same brain at the same time. Every line is controlled. Every detail is intentional. Watching it happen is like watching someone break the rules of how a human brain is supposed to work. The golden tortoise beetle has a transparent exoskeleton that shifts color depending on the angle of light. But here's the part that breaks your brain. It can actively change its color when it feels threatened or angry. A built-in mood ring made of light and biology that science is still trying to fully understand. The billionaire timeless treasure watch costs over $20 million. 425 yellow diamonds, each set in solid gold. Polishing those stones alone took 3 years. It's not just a watch, it's engineering and jewelry fused at a level most people will never get within 10 feet of. Someone in Turkey took a BMW 3 Series and turned it into a working transformer. The car rises, opens up, rotates panels, and deploys mechanical arms, all automated, all remote controlled. It doesn't walk or talk, but watching it transform in real life is genuinely jaw-dropping. Cinema, robotics, and automotive design all crammed into one insane project. There's a yacht that actually flies. 2 large helium dirigibles lifted off the ground entirely, no runway, no water needed. You're standing on the deck, drink in hand, hundreds of feet in the air. This is a real project, not a concept, not a render. A real flying yacht redefining what luxury transportation can even mean. In Mexican lucha libre, the mask isn't an accessory, it's an identity. For legends like El Santo and Blue Demon, removing the mask was considered one of the deepest disgraces possible. Matches where the mask is on the line carry a drama unlike anything else in sports. The mask connects tradition, mystique, and honor in a way that's completely unique to Mexican culture. Nissan built a robot specifically designed to deliver ramen without spilling a drop. Each wheel has an independently adjustable traction system, so the bowl stays perfectly level through turns, speed changes, all of it. Hot broth, perfect delivery, no human error. Robotics applied to one of the most culturally specific challenges imaginable, and it works flawlessly. A fan actually built Homer Simpson's car. The one from the episode where he becomes a designer, green, bubble canopy, multiple horns, completely absurd in every detail. Someone built it in the real world. With all the ridiculous features intact, it's exactly as ridiculous as the cartoon version, which is exactly the point. One of the most faithful tributes in fan history. A children's hospital in Nanjing, China, deployed a robotic pharmacist as part of its medical team. It reads prescriptions, locates the right medications, and packages them entirely without human input. Fewer dispensing errors, shorter wait times, staff freed up for more complex tasks, medical technology advancing quietly, but with an enormous impact on real people's lives. In India, hundreds of ducklings crossed a highway during rush hour and stopped traffic completely. Cars, motorcycles, buses all waiting patiently as the ducks crossed in a perfect single-file line like they'd done it 1,000 times. Multiple drivers filmed it. It went viral worldwide. Pure, unexpected, completely spontaneous joy on a regular Tuesday. Flamethrower tractors are a real agricultural tool. Propane burners mounted on the tractor kill weeds using direct heat, no chemicals, no soil contamination. The heat destroys the plants without damaging the earth beneath, especially useful for organic farming and large-scale land management. Clean, effective, and infinitely more dramatic than a spray bottle. German cyclist Robert Fürstemann is known as the man with steel legs. And once you see his thighs, you understand why. His lower body became a viral sensation, and his explosive sprint capability made him one of the most physically remarkable athletes in competitive cycling. His career pushed the limits of what human muscular output can actually achieve. There's a sand painting that completely transforms when you flip it over. Different colored sands with different textures reorganize into entirely new scenes every time it's inverted. No two flips look the same. What looks like a landscape one moment becomes something unrecognizable the next. It's a piece of art that never holds still. Hexagon magnets are pentagon-shaped and can connect in over 100 different geometric combinations. Stack them, link them, build three-dimensional structures. They're educational tools for exploring geometry, and also one of the most satisfying desk objects ever made. The kind of thing you pick up for 1 minute and put down 45 minutes later. Budsies turns kids' drawings into real stuffed animals. You send a photo of your child's artwork, and for about $99, they build a three-dimensional plush version of exactly what was drawn. Photographer Daniel Corden doesn't just find beautiful places, he studies light, atmosphere, and color to make every image tell a story. He's collaborated with National Geographic and travels to some of the most remote corners of the Earth to capture scenes that look like they belong on another planet. Every photo is a deliberate act of seeing the world differently. This spiral candle burns in two completely separate stages. First, a cotton wick on the outside winds around the spiral and melts the wax inward. When that phase finishes, the candle extinguishes itself. Then you light an inner wooden wick that produces a warmer, softer flame. Two candles in one, two entirely different atmospheres, back to back. British artist Martin Frost paints directly onto the edges of book pages, a rare technique called four-edge painting. The artwork is completely invisible when the book is closed. Only when you angle the pages just right does a full landscape or portrait appear. To anyone else, it's just a book. To the person who knows, it's a hidden world living between the lines. Haotuwan is a village on Shengshan Island near Shanghai that was abandoned in the 1990s. Nature moved in immediately. Vines swallowed the rooftops. Moss consumed the walls. Entire streets disappeared under green. Today it looks less like a ghost town and more like the jungle reclaiming a civilization. Photographers and adventurers travel specifically to see what happens when humans leave and plants take over. The Yinlong Water Park in China is among the largest water parks on Earth. Record-breaking slides, massive pools, live shows designed to entertain thousands of people simultaneously. Every zone is built for a different experience, from extreme thrills to full family relaxation. At that scale, it's less a water park and more a small aquatic city. Finn was a Labrador retriever who worked as a bat retriever for the Las Vegas Aviators baseball team from 2016 until his retirement in 2024. He sprinted onto the field, grabbed the bat, and brought it back every single game. Fans didn't just like him, they considered him a full member of the team. When he retired, people were genuinely emotional about it. World Chase Tag is professional tag. Two competitors in an obstacle-filled arena, one chasing, one evading with only 20 seconds to complete the objective. Pure speed, reflexes, and split-second strategy compressed into half a minute of complete chaos. One of the newest and most visually electric sports to emerge in years. Ambient lighting systems for TVs sync the room's lights to whatever is on screen. The colors and intensity shift in real time to match the image, extending the visual atmosphere onto the walls around you. It makes the movie feel bigger. It also reduces eye strain by softening the contrast between a bright screen and a dark room. Immersive in a way that's hard to fully explain until you experience it. This artist paints directly on his own hand and makes his fingers disappear. Using shadows, texture, and color, he transforms his hand into animals, objects, and impossible figures in real time. No templates, no digital effects. Just paint, technique, and a level of visual skill that completely overrides what your brain thinks it's seeing. It stops working as a hand. It becomes something else entirely. The self-cleaning litter box detects when the cat enters and exits using sensors. The moment the cat leaves, the mechanism activates automatically, collects the waste, and seals it in a small bag. You only need to empty it every few days. It connects to a phone app, eliminates odor, and removes the one daily task every cat owner quietly dreads. About time. The industrial process of canning beer is more precise than most people realize. Cans are cleaned at high pressure, filled in a way that prevents bubbles, sealed hermetically by machine, and then run through quality control all in a matter of seconds per can. Every step is calibrated to the millimeter to make sure what reaches you is exactly as fresh as the day it was made. This contactless thermometer doesn't just take your temperature, it also reads your heart rate and electrocardiogram and functions as a digital stethoscope. Everything displays in real time on a built-in screen. A portable device that does what used to require an entire exam room. No contact needed. Results in seconds. The Flow Motion Big Boot is an inflatable platform designed for doing yoga on open water. It floats, it stays stable, and it packs down completely since every part is inflatable. Take it to a lake, a pool, anywhere with water. The natural movement of the surface underneath you adds a balance challenge that makes every pose significantly harder and significantly more interesting. The Interlace residential complex in Singapore stacks its buildings in a hexagonal pattern specifically designed to create shared green spaces between them. Neighbors have actual outdoor zones to interact in, built directly into the architecture. It doesn't just look striking, it was engineered to build community and reduce urban environmental impact at the same time. An AI-powered robot can now create original artwork by learning painting styles and techniques autonomously. It mixes colors, forms, and styles on its own, and produces results that are genuinely surprising. Its existence opens a question that isn't going away. If a machine can create something beautiful without being told to, what does it mean to be an artist? The Mjolnir bottle opener is shaped like Thor's hammer, weighs enough to feel powerful in your hand, and has enough detail to look like it came straight off a Marvel set. Hang it in the kitchen, pull it out at a party, use it to open a beer and watch everyone in the room react. An object you didn't know you needed until you see it. There's a pen built with magnets and moving parts designed to occupy your hands during long meetings or creative blocks. Spin it, click it, rearrange it, and without realizing it, your focus sharpens. It also writes perfectly with smooth ink that doesn't tire your hand. Smarter than a spinner, more useful than a fidget cube. Built for people whose hands need to move constantly. Little Island in New York City is a floating park built over the Hudson River on 132 individual pillars. It turned a neglected industrial pier into a green space with an amphitheater and art installations. In the middle of one of the busiest cities on Earth, it's a patch of nature you can walk onto from the street. That contrast is exactly why it works. In 2016, a young German man illegally climbed to the top of the Great Pyramid of Giza to take photos. The surface is uneven, the height is extreme, and the climb is genuinely dangerous. The view from the top, the desert stretching in every direction, Cairo spread below is something almost no living person has seen from that exact point. Equal parts reckless and extraordinary. A heron was filmed using bread as fishing bait. It dropped a piece into the water, stepped back and waited. When a fish came to investigate, the heron struck. It didn't stumble onto this behavior. It learned it, repeated it, and executed it with patience and precision. Motorcycle riders inside a metal sphere is one of the most viscerally intense live spectacles you can witness. In a completely enclosed spherical cage, riders perform at full speed on vertical walls, held there by centrifugal force, crossing paths in every direction. The math is physics. The experience is something closer to controlled insanity. The Lumi watch, developed at Carnegie Mellon University, has no conventional screen. Instead, it projects its entire interface directly onto your skin, turning your forearm into a touchscreen. Swipe, tap, control functions all on your arm. No glass, no display, just light on skin. One of the most genuinely futuristic wearable devices ever built. Some artists carved directly into old books, cutting page by page to reveal three-dimensional landscapes, figures, and floating words hidden inside the paper. Each piece requires extraordinary patience and precision, and it preserves the spirit of the original book while transforming it into something entirely new. Literature becoming sculpture, print becoming art you can see from across the room. There's a bed with a television hidden inside its frame. Press a button and a silent motorized lift raises the screen to perfect viewing height from your pillow. Press it again and the screen disappears back inside, leaving the room completely clean. Maximum comfort, zero visual clutter. The kind of design where the engineering is as satisfying as the experience. Japanese Wagyu beef is in a category by itself. That signature fat marbling, the reason it melts the moment it hits your tongue, comes from a very specific raising process. Low-stress environments, carefully controlled diets, conditions designed to keep the animal calm throughout its life. Every one of those details shows up directly in the texture and flavor of the final product. You can taste the care. The Veiled Virgin, sculpted in Carrara marble, is one of the most technically impossible things a human being has ever created. The veil covering the Virgin Mary's face looks real translucent, delicate, like actual fabric draped over skin. It is solid stone. The sculptor carved the illusion of something soft and sheer out of one of the hardest materials on Earth. In California, giant reservoirs are covered with black floating balls, millions of them. They form a protective layer over the water that blocks sunlight, prevents algae growth, and dramatically reduces evaporation. A massive problem in a state that deals with chronic drought. The solution is almost absurdly simple, and it works. Brock Brown was recognized as the world's tallest teenager when, at 19 years old, he stood approximately 7 feet 7 inches tall. His extraordinary height was caused by gigantism, a rare medical condition triggered by excess growth hormone. It caused disproportionate growth in his bones and organs and brought serious health challenges throughout his life, a record that came with a very real cost. The Unitree robot is a quadruped with three-dimensional sensors that reads terrain in real time. It climbs stairs, dodges obstacles, and stays upright even when someone tries to shove it over. No visible head, no visible eyes. Just fluid, animal-like movement that makes your brain insist something is alive inside it. It's being used in security and exploration, and it's captured the attention of the entire world. The DC electric tricycle has one feature that sounds impossible until you see it: a zero turning radius. It can rotate completely in place without moving forward or backward even 1 inch. It hits up to 30 miles per hour on a single charge, has a comfortable seat, and handles easily. Built for congested urban environments where maneuvering in tight spaces isn't optional, it's the whole challenge. The flipbook is one of the oldest and purest forms of animation ever invented. Draw a sequence of slightly different images, one per page. Flip through them fast with your thumb and the images come alive. No screen, no electricity, no software, just drawing, timing, and patience. Animation stripped down to its absolute essence, held in your hands. Rani is the world's smallest cow, just 20 inches tall and weighing 57 pounds. This cow from Bangladesh broke records and captured hearts around the world. She's closer in size to a large dog than any conventional cow. Small in stature, enormous in fame. Living proof that record books aren't just for the biggest things on Earth. The flying train concept combines a train and a plane into one vehicle. Instead of wheels, it has wings and propellers. It floats above elevated tracks and can reach over 310 miles per hour while carrying up to 2,000 passengers. No runway needed, no airport, just specialized rail infrastructure. If it ever gets built at scale, it could completely redefine how the world's largest cities move people. Meet the resurrection plant. During a drought, it dries out completely, curls into a ball, and looks totally dead. Then you add water, and it comes back to life. It can stay dormant for years and still revive like nothing happened. That's why people across the world keep it in their homes as a symbol of hope and rebirth. Here's something you didn't expect. The alien grunts in Halo Infinite weren't made with synthesizers. They were recorded from a real dog named Giosa. His growls and breathing were digitally processed to bring those extraterrestrial creatures to life. Proof that the best sci-fi sounds sometimes come from the most ordinary places. In Nazaré, Portugal, German surfer Sebastian Steutner rode a wave over 93 feet tall and broke a Guinness World Record doing it. Drones and cutting-edge technology were used to measure it precisely. Nazaré is already legendary for its monster waves, but this one redefined what's even possible in the ocean. The Airbus Beluga XL looks like it has no business being airborne. Its massive whale-shaped fuselage is designed to carry enormous aircraft components, full wings, even between Airbus factories across Europe. It entered service in 2019, and watching it take off feels like watching physics lose an argument. In Australia, scientists built a computer called CL1 that runs on human cells. Grown from induced stem cells, it doesn't have consciousness, but it's pushing the boundary between biology and technology, exploring how the human brain works through a completely new kind of computing. Some shrimp can fire pressurized jets of water like a controlled sneeze to blast away sediment or scare off predators. And here's the kicker: their heart is located in their head. They can regrow lost limbs and have compound eyes that detect movement in extraordinary detail. In Billund, Denmark, there's a secret facility that holds at least one copy of every single Lego set released since 1958. It's an ever-growing private archive, a brick-by-brick record of one of the most iconic toys in human history. Tira the zebra was born with spots instead of stripes, thanks to an incredibly rare genetic condition called pseudomelanism. Her coat forms a one-of-a-kind pattern that makes her instantly recognizable in her herd. In the wild, being different can be a risk, but it also makes her unforgettable. Three-dimensional printing is rewriting the future of medicine. Scientists are now using bioinks loaded with living cells to print human organs, miniature livers, kidneys, even hearts layer by layer. The goal: transplants without waiting for a donor. It sounds like science fiction. It's already happening. The Emperor Tamarin is a tiny primate with a spectacular white mustache and energy that never quits. It bounces non-stop through tropical rainforests, relying on razor-sharp senses and insane agility to survive. Small package, massive attitude. In Dalat, Vietnam, there's an entire village built from red clay. The houses, the sculptures, the decorations all carved from earth. Walking through it feels surreal, like stepping into a living artwork where the ground itself becomes architecture. In Lanzarote, Spain, there's a restaurant inside a national park where the food is cooked by the earth itself. A grill sits over a natural volcanic shaft, pumping heat at over 750 degrees Fahrenheit, no flames visible, just an invisible fire that never goes out, powered entirely by geothermal energy. The baby batfish has one of nature's best disguises. It's born, shaped, and colored exactly like a floating leaf. Predators swim right past it. As it grows, it slowly transforms into the distinctly odd adult form, but those first weeks, perfect camouflage, built right in. In Germany, some cities have deployed self-sufficient solar-powered capsules designed to shelter homeless people from extreme cold. They're thermal, windproof, waterproof, and open automatically when they detect movement. Technology built not for speed or profit, but to save lives on the coldest nights of the year. The basket star spends its days curled into a tight ball on the ocean floor. But at night, it unfurls dozens of intricately branched arms to catch plankton drifting by. One of the most alien-looking creatures in the Atlantic and Caribbean, and one of the most surprisingly strategic. Takemika started working out at 65. She's now over 90 years old and still teaching strength and flexibility classes in Japan. Her story went viral worldwide, and for good reason. She's living proof that age is just a number. In Morocco, goats have learned to climb argan trees to reach the fruit. You read that right, goats and trees. It's a real, documented behavior that shows just how far animals will go to adapt when food gets scarce. The first time you see it, you swear it's been staged. A wolf's howl can travel up to 10 miles in the right conditions. It's not just communication, it's territory marking, pack coordination, and long-distance hunting strategy all in one sound. A single call echoing through the mountains carries more information than most people realize. There's a flower called the skeleton flower, found in Japan and China, that's almost completely transparent. In dry conditions, its petals are white. The moment rain touches them, they turn to glass. You can see straight through, right down to every vein. It's one of the most quietly surreal things nature has ever produced. Bhutan doesn't measure national progress by GDP. It measures gross national happiness, an index that prioritizes spiritual well-being, ecology, and cultural preservation over material growth. It's a philosophy of governance that's turned heads worldwide for putting people's actual happiness at the center of policy. A Filipino fisherman kept a massive white rock under his bed for 10 years as a good luck charm, heavy, smooth, and unremarkable looking until someone finally identified it. It was a natural pearl weighing 75 pounds and measuring over 2 feet long, the largest ever found, sitting under a mattress for a decade. In Japan, McDonald's partnered with Nintendo to create an exclusive employee training video game. Using Nintendo DS consoles, workers learned to take orders, run the kitchen, and serve customers with fun graphics and time challenges. Training disguised as gaming. It worked. In the Argentine province of Córdoba, there's a forest shaped like a giant guitar visible only from the air. Different tree species were planted deliberately to form the silhouette, complete with neck and body. A tribute to folk music turned into living landscape art. In Bukovina, Romania, entire monastery walls are covered in vibrant outdoor frescoes that have survived since the 15th century. Biblical stories, historical scenes, colors that refuse to fade, all painted on the outside of Orthodox churches in the middle of the mountains. UNESCO listed and genuinely breathtaking. The Bugatti W16 Mistral isn't just a car, it's an engineering statement. Its W16 engine produces nearly 1,600 horsepower and hit a verified top speed of 281 miles per hour, making it the fastest open-top production car ever built. Only a handful were made. Each one is essentially a moving world record. For centuries, farmers in Afghanistan have preserved fresh grapes for months without any refrigeration, using a technique called kangina. Airtight containers made from mud and straw keep the air out and the freshness in. No electricity, no technology, just ancient knowledge doing what modern convenience hasn't managed to replace. Every spring, over 7 million tulips bloom at Keukenhof in the Netherlands, the Garden of Europe. It's a full sensory experience. Color in every direction, fragrance in the air, landscape design as an art form. If you love nature, it belongs on your list. In the middle of a Texas field, 10 Cadillacs are buried nose first in the dirt and have been since 1974. That's Cadillac Ranch. Anyone can walk up and spray paint them. The cars never look the same twice. It's part art installation, part living canvas, and it's become one of the most iconic cultural landmarks in the country. Darius wasn't just a rabbit. He was a Flemish giant over 4 feet long and weighing nearly 50 pounds. He appeared on TV shows and made headlines worldwide. Despite looking like something from a fairy tale, he was calm, friendly, and apparently ate like a horse, a gentle giant in every sense. Iceland has no standing army. Its police don't even carry guns on a typical day, and it consistently ranks as one of the safest countries on Earth. It's not luck, it's a deeply rooted culture of trust between people and institutions that makes the whole system work without force. Cymatics is the science of making sound visible. When certain frequencies vibrate a surface, they create stunning geometric patterns, perfectly symmetrical, endlessly complex. Scientists study it. Artists use it to build audiovisual installations where sound literally draws shapes in sand and liquid. Watching it happen is borderline hypnotic. In Norway, there's a soccer stadium on an island of just 500 people. No bleachers, no grandstands, just a small asphalt platform to stand on. The whole community fits. Every match becomes a neighborhood event. You don't need millions of dollars to build something that matters to people. In Alaska, the summer sun shines for up to 20 hours a day, and the vegetables go absolutely insane. Broccoli heads weighing 35 pounds, carrots the size of your forearm, melons that look like watermelons. The light never stops, so the plants never stop growing. Every year they're put on display at local fairs, and every year people can't believe what they're seeing. The Texas Longhorn's horns can stretch over 6.5 feet from tip to tip. They're not just for show, those horns actually help regulate body temperature. This breed is tough, lean, historically significant, and considered a genetic treasure for its adaptability. The symbol of the American West, and for good reason. Every year in California, they hold the world's ugliest dog contest. Crooked teeth, wild fur, scars, bizarre expressions, all celebrated. The point isn't to mock, it's to promote adoption of the dogs most people walk right past at shelters. The winner gets fame, love, and a whole lot of smiles. In Hanoi, Vietnam, there's a coffee you won't find anywhere else: egg coffee. Intense Vietnamese brew mixed with whipped egg yolk, rich, creamy, unlike anything you've tasted. It was born during a milk shortage as a creative workaround. Now it's a symbol of Vietnamese culinary ingenuity. Try it once, and you'll understand why it stuck. You can explore the inside of the International Space Station on Google Maps. Float from module to module, see the labs, the sleeping quarters, the equipment all from your couch. One of the most immersive free experiences on the internet, and most people have no idea it exists. Beijing Daxing International Airport looks like it landed from the future. Designed by Zaha Hadid and opened in 2019, its starfish-shaped layout minimizes walking distances and maximizes passenger flow. Robots assist travelers. The design is sustainable. It's not just an airport, it's a statement about where architecture is going. For nearly 500 years, the Catholic Church maintained an official list of banned books called the Index Librorum Prohibitorum. Galileo made the list for defending heliocentrism. So did Copernicus and Descartes. It ran from 1559 all the way to 1966. Owning some of those books could get you in serious trouble. In Taiwan, there's a theme park called Carton King, where almost everything, walls, chairs, tables, even a working train, is made of cardboard. The restaurant serves food on recyclable cardboard plates. It completely reframes what we think of as disposable, creative, sustainable, and genuinely surprising. In Japan, people don't sign documents, they stamp them. Personal ink seals called hanko are used to authenticate everything from job contracts to academic records. Each one is unique to its owner. More than a formality, it's a tradition that follows a Japanese person through their entire professional and academic life. Every Easter on the Greek island of Chios, two rival churches launch thousands of fireworks directly at each other. The goal: hit the other church's bell tower. Rockets fly in both directions across the sky. It's been going on for generations. Dangerous? A little. Spectacular? Completely. One of the most jaw-dropping festivals on the planet. India qualified for the 1950 World Cup and then withdrew because FIFA wouldn't let the players compete barefoot. Several Indian players traditionally played without shoes, and when FIFA enforced mandatory footwear, India walked away rather than comply. One of the least known footnotes in soccer history, and one of the most culturally fascinating. A cat's tongue is covered in tiny backward-facing spines made of keratin. They work like a built-in comb, pulling out loose fur, removing food residue, and evenly distributing saliva that cools the body. That rough texture isn't random. It's millions of years of evolution doing its job perfectly. The tule tree in Oaxaca, Mexico, has the widest trunk of any tree on Earth, more than 130 feet around. It's estimated to be over 2,000 years old. Standing next to it genuinely makes you feel small. It's not just a natural record, it's a living piece of history. Ram Singh Chauhan from India holds the Guinness World Record for the longest mustache ever, over 14 feet long. He maintains it daily with natural oils and traditional techniques passed down through generations. In India, the mustache carries deep cultural meaning. His is just taken to a level no one else has reached. Blue lobsters exist, but finding one is almost impossible. The odds are roughly 1 in 2 million. A genetic mutation in a protein called crustacyanin alters the shell's pigment to vivid blue. Unlike regular lobsters, the color doesn't disappear when cooked. Many fishermen who catch one throw it back, believing it brings good luck. In Finland, traffic fines are calculated based on your income. Speed in a Ferrari and you might pay over 50,000 euros for one ticket. Speed in a modest car on a modest salary and you pay proportionally less. The idea, the punishment should feel the same regardless of how rich you are. A concept that sparks debate everywhere it's mentioned. In a remote village in Japan, the traditional gasho, zukuri farmhouses have survived for centuries with their steep thatched roofs, designed to look like hands pressed together in prayer. Built to shed heavy mountain snowfall, they still stand today, UNESCO listed, seasonally stunning, and unlike anything else in the world. Japan has plans to build a space elevator by the year 2050. Capsules would ride a cable up to a station 22,000 miles above Earth, powered by solar energy, no rockets needed. It's still in the planning phase, but if it works, it changes everything about how humanity accesses space. The Hyperloop, originally conceived by Elon Musk, uses low-pressure tubes to let capsules levitate and travel at over 600 miles per hour. Almost zero friction. Prototypes have already hit impressive speeds. If it scales, the distance between cities stops, meaning what it currently means. A spotless, reticulated giraffe was born at a zoo in Tennessee, the only one of its kind ever documented. Giraffes are defined by their patches. This one has none. Completely smooth. Biologists and animal lovers worldwide took notice. Nature, apparently, still has surprises left. At a restaurant in China, the waitstaff don't walk between tables, they skate. Rollerblades, trays in hand, weaving through the dining room like a choreographed performance. It's faster, it's impressive, and it's turned the restaurant into a tourist attraction. Dinner becomes a show. The voice actors who play Mickey and Minnie Mouse at Disney parks got married in real life. The two characters who've been together in fiction for decades, the people behind the voices, fell in love for real. Disney magic, apparently, doesn't stop at the gates. In the UK, the biobus runs entirely on biomethane, a renewable gas produced from human sewage. What people flush becomes fuel that moves a bus. It cuts carbon emissions, it repurposes waste, and it works. Sometimes the most innovative energy solutions are already in the pipeline. Literally, sea otters hold hands while they sleep so the current doesn't pull them apart. They also use rocks as tools to crack open shellfish, one of the few marine mammals known to use tools at all. Adorable and surprisingly intelligent, scientists have been studying them for decades, and they keep finding reasons to be impressed. In Japan, there's an art form where the canvas is liquid candy and it disappears in seconds. Amazin artists sculpt animals and dragons from hot caramel using only special scissors, shaping the piece before it hardens. The whole thing takes moments. Then someone eats it. Ephemeral, edible, and genuinely mesmerizing to watch. Walt Disney didn't just dream about theme parks, he wanted to build an actual city. His vision for Epcot included monorail transport, underground pedestrian streets, automated homes, and a climate-controlled dome at the center. A living community where new technologies would be tested before reaching the rest of the world. The city never happened, but pieces of the concept live on in the Florida park that bears its name. Every winter in Bulgaria, performers called kukeri dress in handmade monster costumes covered in giant bells. They dance through villages to drive out evil spirits and bring good luck. The bells crash and clang as they move, and that sound, according to tradition, scares off negative energy. It's part theater, part folklore, part spiritual ritual, and it's been happening for centuries. A group of women skydivers set the world record for the largest vertical formation freefall ever recorded. In freefall, moving faster than 125 miles per hour, they synchronized their bodies into perfect formations midair. Months of training, nerves of steel, and one of the most stunning moments in extreme sports history. In Germany in 2019, someone built the tallest sandcastle ever, nearly 58 feet high, using nothing but sand and water. No internal frame, no supports, just the exact ratio of materials and an extraordinary amount of skill and patience. Proof that the simplest ingredients, handled precisely, can become something monumental. Norway's Fredvang Bridge doesn't just connect islands in the Lofoten archipelago, it makes you feel like you're driving through a painting. The curved, elevated design lets ships pass underneath, while drivers get panoramic views of sea and mountains in every direction. Functional infrastructure that also happens to be one of the most photographed spots in the country. The Argus implant gives blind people the ability to see again, not in color, not in detail, but in black and white outlines that let them detect objects in movement. A retinal implant paired with a small camera mounted on special glasses. It costs around $50,000. For those who use it, the price is irrelevant. They can see the world again. The first commercial mobile phone launched in 1983. The Motorola Dynatac 8000X weighed almost 2 pounds, had a massive antenna, and lasted 30 minutes on a full charge. It also cost more than a small car at the time. Hold one today, and every smartphone in your pocket feels like a miracle. The Macroglossa moth feeds on bird tears while the bird is sleeping. Its proboscis gently pierces the eyelid without waking the host and absorbs the lacrimal fluid through the night. This is a real documented behavior. Evolution found a way to turn sleeping birds into a food source. Nature, once again, is deeply unsettling. Out of every 1 million Lego pieces manufactured, only 18 have defects. Steel molds, strict quality control at every stage, and tolerances so precise that a brick made today fits perfectly with one made decades ago. That compatibility isn't an accident, it's engineering obsession. And it's a big part of why the brand has lasted over half a century. The 12 Apostles off the southern coast of Australia are towering limestone columns carved over millions of years by wind and water. There aren't actually 12 of them anymore, erosion keeps claiming them, but the name stuck. At sunrise or sunset, when golden light hits the rock, it's one of the most spectacular coastal views on Earth. In Brescia, Italy, there's a street artist who works in reverse. Instead of painting walls, Ghost Couture cleans them. At night, he removes graffiti, grime, and stains, restoring surfaces to their original state. By morning, walls that were damaged look untouched. Creativity used not to mark the world, but to restore it. England's Alnwick Poison Garden is exactly what it sounds like: over 100 species of deadly plants, including belladonna and castor bean, all in one place. Some are toxic enough to harm you just by touching them. Guided tours only, no touching, no smelling, no tasting. Beautiful and lethally dangerous, every single leaf has a story you don't want to experience firsthand. Alex the parrot wasn't just mimicking sounds. After years of research with scientist Irene Pepperberg, he could recognize over 150 words, count, identify colors and shapes, and grasp abstract concepts like same and different. His intelligence challenged everything we thought we knew about animal language. When he died, his last words to Pepperberg were, "Be good, I love you. Some goodbyes stay with you." In Puebla, Mexico, there's a volcano you can walk inside. The Cuexcamate stands only about 43 feet tall, making it the smallest volcano in the world, but it has a crater nearly 56 feet deep, accessible by a staircase. A geological experience unlike anything else. Inside the Barney, the dinosaur costume for almost a decade was a man named David Joyner. The suit weighed 70 pounds and severely limited his vision. He wore it anyway, every day, with enough energy and warmth to turn a purple dinosaur into a cultural icon for millions of children. Pringles chips are shaped like a hyperbolic paraboloid, a specific geometric curve that distributes pressure evenly when stacked in a cylindrical tube. That's why they don't crumble in the can. Next time you open a Pringles tube, you're holding a small triumph of applied mathematics. British photographer Carl Warner builds entire landscapes out of food. Mountains made of bread, rivers of salmon slices, trees constructed from broccoli. Each scene is assembled piece by piece like a film set, then photographed. The results look like illustrations from a fairy tale. He calls them foodscapes, and they make you look at a dinner plate completely differently. SpongeBob SquarePants lives underwater but was designed after a kitchen sponge, not a real sea sponge. His creator, Steven Hillenburg, was a marine biologist and originally drew the character with a natural round shape. Then he realized a square, artificial sponge was funnier. One small design choice, one unforgettable silhouette. In Lanzarote, Spain, there's a museum you have to dive into. Sculptures and artworks sit fully submerged underwater, doubling as artificial reefs that support marine life. Fish swim through the installations. Visitors explore by scuba diving. It's the only underwater museum of its kind in the world, and it's alive in a way no building ever could be. HX Studio built a trash can that moves to catch your garbage before it hits the floor. Cameras and machine learning algorithms calculate the object's trajectory in real time and reposition the bin accordingly. Keeping spaces clean, assisted by artificial intelligence. Even throwing something away is becoming smarter. At a research center, sea lions are trained to play video games using their snouts to control a cursor on screen. It stimulates cognition and coordination while opening new doors in animal behavior and neuroscience research. Turns out the gap between a sea lion and a joystick is smaller than anyone expected. The expiration date on a water bottle has nothing to do with the water. Pure water doesn't expire. The date refers to the plastic container, which can degrade over time and leach compounds into the liquid. Most people assume the water goes bad. What actually changes is the bottle around it. Spanish freestyle rapper Arcano broke a world record by rapping for over 24 hours straight, live improvised, without repeating rhymes, pausing only for smoothies and energy gels. Humor, social commentary, and personal reflection, non-stop for an entire day. Physical endurance meets creative stamina. Rap taken to its absolute limit. Flamethrower drones sound like science fiction, but they're being used right now to destroy Asian giant hornet nests. The species is invasive, aggressive, and dangerous to both humans and local bee populations. Instead of sending people in, drones fly in and incinerate the nest with a controlled burst of fire. Controversial, effective, and a glimpse at how robotics is starting to handle ecological problems. In some countries, including Mexico and Germany, escaping from prison is not a crime. The legal reasoning: the desire for freedom is considered a fundamental human instinct that can't be criminalized. As long as no violence or damage occurs during the escape, no charges are added. Commit a crime while fleeing, and you'll answer for that specifically. You simply can't be punished for wanting to be free. Hummingbirds can see colors that don't exist for humans. A fourth type of cone in their eyes detects ultraviolet light, expanding their visual world far beyond what we can perceive. Many flowers have patterns visible only in the ultraviolet spectrum, essentially neon signs pointing straight to food, readable only by the birds that need them. In Hanoi, Vietnam, traffic police don't just direct cars, they open corridors for ambulances in real time. Officers coordinate vehicles and traffic lights simultaneously to create clear emergency lanes on the fly. Lives saved not by expensive technology, but by human coordination done exceptionally well. A reminder that sometimes the most effective solution is also the simplest one. In China, an entire village was built from bamboo and wood in just 52 days. The bamboo craft village spirals upward in a design that's as functional as it is striking, hosting exhibitions, conferences, and community events. Sustainable, traditional, and modern all at once. Built fast, designed to last. The blue tarantula looks like it was designed by a special effects team. Its intense metallic color comes from nanocrystals in its hairs that reflect light in a completely unique way. Scientists still don't fully understand why it evolved this way. It doesn't seem to serve camouflage or reproduction. It's just breathtakingly, mysteriously beautiful. Macro photography of rust reveals something most people never think to look at. Up close, corrosion becomes abstract art, fractured textures, complex patterns, colors that shift like a painting. What looks like decay from a distance looks like sculpture from inches away. The same object, completely transformed by perspective. Before cinema existed, people were already tricking their brains into seeing motion. The zoetrope, a spinning cylinder with slits and sequential drawings inside, created the illusion of continuous movement. Invented in the 19th century, it fooled human perception so convincingly that it planted the seed for everything we now call film. France has its own version of the hot dog, and it's better. A crispy baguette with a hole drilled through the center. The sausage slides in, followed by mustard, mayo, ketchup, and melted cheese. Clean to eat, impossible to put down. A staple of French street food, and honestly a design improvement on the original. In the middle of the Dubai desert, two man-made lakes form a perfect heart shape when seen from above. This artificial oasis in Al Qudra isn't just striking visually, it supports local wildlife and gives city residents a rare, quiet escape from one of the world's most intense urban environments. Beauty engineered from nothing in the middle of the sand. A Buddhist statue in Puebla, Mexico, was hiding something extraordinary. Inside it, the mummified remains of monk Qin Sanyan, who died at 37 and was known for his expertise in herbal medicine. The statue wasn't just his likeness, it was his tomb. His organs were naturally preserved inside the sculpture for centuries. History, medicine, and spirituality sealed in stone. Cats cannot taste sweetness. The gene responsible for detecting sweet flavors, TAS1R2, is simply absent in their DNA. Their palate is built entirely around meat. Sugar means nothing to them. It's an evolutionary confirmation that cats are obligate carnivores, hardwired to hunt, not snack. In Shenzhen, China, there's a futuristic bookstore that combines cutting-edge architecture, a tea salon, and study areas into a single immersive experience. And in the same city, the Space Lab restaurant delivers every order through spiral slides, a rail system that sends your plate from the kitchen to your table in just 17 seconds. Shenzhen is doing everything differently. The number of possible chess positions exceeds the number of atoms in the observable universe. Every game is a path through a mathematical space so vast it's essentially infinite. That's why artificial intelligence still uses chess as one of its greatest benchmarks. Centuries of human play, and we've barely scratched the surface. Hold a Canadian passport under ultraviolet light, and the pages come alive, maple leaves, fireworks, and waterfalls appear out of nowhere. It's stunning and nearly impossible to counterfeit. Meanwhile, in Japan, manhole covers are hand-painted works of art, flowers, animals. Local landmarks in some cities have dedicated tourist routes just to photograph them. Everyday infrastructure turned into a national gallery. Ants can carry up to 50 times their own body weight. For a human, that would mean lifting an entire car over your head. The physics behind it comes down to size. The smaller the body, the greater the proportional muscle strength. Engineers and roboticists have been studying ant biomechanics for years, trying to replicate what evolution figured out millions of years ago. Norway built the world's tallest ice cream cone, just over 10 feet high, using 210 pounds of wafer and over 260 gallons of cream. A monumental achievement in dessert. And while we're on global reach, Coca-Cola isn't officially sold in Cuba or North Korea. In Cuba, it arrives unofficially from Mexico. In North Korea, through imports from China, some brands outrun geopolitics entirely. Kirin's electric salt spoon sends a mild electrical current through your tongue to amplify the perception of saltiness without adding any extra sodium. Less salt, same flavor. A genuine innovation for anyone managing their health without wanting to give up taste. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, activists built an entire museum exhibit using plastic waste pulled from the ocean, turning pollution into a powerful artistic statement. Kerala, a state in southern India, has a literacy rate above 96%. Decades of investment in public education and social programs have produced results that outperform many developed nations. An entire region transformed by one consistent priority, a model the rest of the world keeps referencing. In 2019 in Beijing, the first humanoid robot World Games brought together robotic athletes from 16 countries competing in races and soccer matches. A milestone for AI and mechanical engineering. And Tesla plans to begin mass production of its humanoid robot called Optimus by 2026. The games are just getting started. A Japanese artist built a floating sculpture that looks exactly like a zipper opening across the surface of a lake. From a distance, the boat appears to be splitting the water apart like fabric. The effect shifts with every viewing angle. Once you see it, you can't look away. Daniel Rose Levine solved a Rubik's Cube with his feet in 16.96 seconds, a world record. He trained for months, 5 hours a day, dedicated entirely to coordinating his toes with the precision most people can't manage with their hands. When everyone else is still scrambling with their fingers, he finished with his feet. Every 5 years on the island of La Palma, a festival features men dressed as serious scientists who disappear behind a screen and reappear as tiny dancing figures. The quick change is theatrical, secretive, and completely delightful. It's been part of the island's identity for generations. Tradition, humor, and surprise wrapped into one unforgettable performance. In the early 20th century in the Swiss Alps, someone invented a bicycle with skis instead of wheels for navigating snowy streets in Grindelwald. Practical problem, creative solution. Today, that same concept has evolved into an actual mountain sport in some regions, keeping the original ingenuity alive in a completely new form. Nature's most convincing disguise is basically just a really weird butt. Lake Assal in Djibouti sits at the lowest point on the African continent, surrounded by dormant volcanoes, and holds water nearly 10 times saltier than the ocean. A salt concentration of 34.8%, That already beats the Dead Sea. But drop down to 65 feet below the surface. In Paris, a funeral company called Le Ciel and La Terre has introduced eco-friendly bicycle hearses. An electric cargo bike called the Corbicyclette carries the coffin through the streets silent, elegant, and carbon-free. A dignified send-off that leaves a smaller footprint. Literally, crack an egg underwater and something completely unexpected happens. Instead of spreading out, the water pressure acts like an invisible shell, holding the white and yolk together in a perfect floating sphere. No pan, no heat, just physics doing something beautiful. Tom Holland confirms something Marvel fans had been speculating for years. Peter Parker appeared in the MCU long before his official debut. The little kid in the Iron Man mask who gets saved by Tony Stark in Iron Man 2? That's Peter Parker. The timeline always included him, we just didn't know it yet. Johnny Bravo started as a college thesis. Animation student Van Partible created the character as an Elvis Presley-inspired egomaniac for a school project. Hanna-Barbera executives saw it and turned a homework assignment into a full series, one of the most accidental origin stories in cartoon history. Someone built a fully functional typewriter out of nothing but Lego bricks. Creator Cohen Bricks engineered every key to trigger a real system of levers and gears, driving a mechanical arm that strikes an ink ribbon and prints a letter on actual paper. The roller advances line by line. No motors, no special parts, just plastic blocks doing something they were never designed to do. The Hadza language, spoken by fewer than 1,500 people in Tanzania, is so phonetically complex that linguists use special click symbols just to write it down. The first time anthropologists recorded it, they thought their equipment was malfunctioning. The sounds didn't match anything in their reference framework. It's genuinely one of a kind. Spotify and Liquid Death partnered to create a coffin with a built-in Bluetooth speaker preloaded with your personal playlist. The idea: your favorite music plays on after you're gone. It's a real product. Dark humor meets funeral tech, and somehow it works. The Bornean peacock pheasant is one of the most elusive birds on Earth. Found only in the lowland rainforests of Borneo, it has dark plumage with metallic sheen, a vivid blue face, and white legs. Habitat loss has made every sighting significant. Researchers treat it like a rare encounter because it is. A designer named John Zhu built a flying umbrella that follows you in the rain. A camera tracks your movement, and GPS keeps it positioned above you automatically. No hands required. Your own personal rain cloud, hands-free. It sounds like a cartoon gadget, and it actually exists. In parts of Japan, road signs warn drivers about cats because in those neighborhoods, cats regularly launch themselves off rooftops onto passing cars without warning. Not exotic animals, not rare wildlife. Just domestic cats with absolutely no regard for traffic safety. Mosquito researcher Perron Ross at the University of Melbourne feeds his mosquitoes with his own arm every month. 45 cages, 200 females each. Over 15 years, he's donated roughly 1.3 gallons of blood to science. His single-day record, 5,000 bites. For science, the Covadonga Sanctuary in Asturias, Spain, features a chapel carved directly into a cliff face, appearing to hang over a waterfall. According to tradition, King Pelayo took refuge here during the Battle of Covadonga in the year 722, considered the starting point of the Reconquista. Self-healing materials can repair their own cracks by mimicking how skin heals. They use embedded microcapsules, dynamic molecular bonds, or internal chemical reactions triggered by damage. The result: longer-lasting structures with lower maintenance costs, already being applied in construction, electronics, and infrastructure. A planimeter measures the area of any irregular shape, no formulas needed. You simply trace the outline with its tip, no matter how curved or complex. The internal mechanism does all the math automatically. When you lift the stylus, a small wheel and counter display the exact area. Geometry without the headache. Scotland's Speyside Cooperage in Craigielachi, founded in 1947, repairs between 350 and 400 barrels every single day. Whiskey gets most of its flavor, color, and character from the wood it ages in. Without the skilled work of dismantling, charring, and rebuilding these barrels, Scotch whiskey as we know it simply wouldn't exist. Artificial photosynthesis mimics plants to turn sunlight into clean fuel. Artificial leaves made from semiconductors and catalysts use water and carbon dioxide to produce hydrogen or synthetic fuels. The energy can be stored and used even when the sun isn't shining, basically bottling sunlight. The Ferropet is a desk toy made of iron filings with a magnet hidden in the base. Press a button to activate or deactivate the magnetic field. Feed it by pouring filings into its dish. It grows as it eats. Send it to the sandbox and it relieves itself and shrinks. A magnetic pet with genuine personality. Paraty, a colonial city in Rio de Janeiro state, was deliberately designed to flood at high tide. Since colonial times, seawater has been used to naturally clean its cobblestone streets. The roads slope slightly inward so water flows through without pooling, UNESCO listed, and still flushing itself twice a day. Architects and urban planners are seriously designing floating cities as a response to rising sea levels. Oceanic City, backed by UN Habitat and MIT, would house 10,000 residents on self-sufficient hexagonal platforms. The Maldives floating city was designed for 20,000 people. These aren't science fiction anymore, they're blueprints. Photograph a polar bear with a thermal camera and you'll barely see it. While most animals glow brightly in thermal imaging, the polar bear is nearly invisible. That's why it rules the Arctic. In the United States, a heart transplant costs between $1,330,000 and $1,660,000. An intestine transplant runs around $1,200,000. A lung is $561,000, a liver $600,000, and a kidney $447,000. The organ itself is free. Most of the cost is the infrastructure, surgery, and lifelong treatment that follows. Fear of snakes is not something you're born with. Newborns only have two hardwired startle responses: loud noises and the sensation of falling. Every other fear, including snakes, is learned through life experience and cultural exposure. Nobody comes preloaded with phobias. When Michael Leroy Luther died, his family honored his lifelong passion with a tombstone shaped like an arcade cabinet, an exact replica of the classic Pac-Man machine from the 80s. One of the most unusual gravestones in the world, and an eternal tribute to the games he loved. The Doomsday Clock was created in 1947 by scientists from the Manhattan Project, including Einstein and Oppenheimer, to warn the world about nuclear risk. Each year, a panel of 13 Nobel laureates decides whether to move the hands. In late January of 2026, it was set to 85 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been to the end. Those perfectly scooped, never-melting ice cream mountains in advertisements? That's mashed potatoes with food coloring. Real ice cream collapses under studio lights in minutes. Mashed potatoes hold their shape, take color beautifully, and stay camera-ready for hours. Every dream dessert you've ever seen in a commercial potatoes. In China, a 30-story hotel was built in just 2 weeks using prefabricated modules assembled with millimeter precision 3 floors per day. Nearly 100% of the components were factory-made. The building is designed to withstand a magnitude 9 earthquake and runs on ultra-pure air filtration and high-efficiency energy systems. Misophonia is a neurological condition where ordinary sounds trigger intense emotional reactions. The brain interprets certain noises, chewing, heavy breathing, typing as a threat, triggering the nervous system and causing anxiety, nausea, or even gagging. It's not a preference, it's a genuine disorder. Earthquakes can create gold almost instantly. Deep underground, mineral-rich fluids carry dissolved gold through fault lines. When a quake strikes, pressure drops suddenly, and the gold solidifies within seconds inside the cracks. Repeat that process over thousands of years, and those particles build up into mineable veins. Gold doesn't form slowly. Sometimes it snaps into existence. Snailworks makes glow-in-the-dark stars with high-performance photoluminescent pigments that stay lit for over 15 hours. Standard glow stars fade in an hour. These absorb light all day and release it slowly through the night. The classic childhood bedroom ceiling, but actually worth it. Western Australia is home to the longest train in the world. Operated by BHP, it stretches 4.5 miles, hauls 682 cars, and carries over 90,000 tons of iron ore across the Pilbara Desert. 8 locomotives pull the whole thing. Guinness World Record holder since 2001. Dubai's civil defense uses high-powered ground robots to fight industrial fires. Operators control them remotely, directing powerful water jets straight into the core of the blaze while firefighters stay at a safe distance. Advanced technology and smart strategy combine for situations where sending humans in is simply not an option. Gyotaku is an ancient Japanese printing technique that uses real fish. Fishermen would ink their catch and press it onto paper to record the size and shape of what they caught. Over time, it evolved from a practical log into a recognized art form. Today, those detailed fish prints hang in galleries. There are approximately 3 trillion trees on Earth, more than 20 times the number of stars in the Milky Way, which is estimated at between 100 billion and 400 billion. But since the dawn of human civilization, we've already cut down nearly half of them, 3 trillion, and we've lost almost half. When a shipping container falls overboard, it's almost never recovered. Ships rarely stop maneuvering in open water as too dangerous. The incident only gets reported if the cargo poses a navigation or environmental hazard. On average, around 1,200 containers are lost at sea every single year. Somewhere beneath the surface, there are thousands of them just sitting on the ocean floor. Vicuña wool was called the gold of the Incas, and under a microscope, you can see exactly why. The fibers have microscopic interlocking scales that trap tiny pockets of static air inside. It works exactly like the vacuum walls of a thermos, insulating your body heat from the extreme cold. Palm trees aren't actually trees, at least not in the botanical sense. They're more closely related to grass, corn, and rice than to an oak or a pine. They have no true wood and no growth rings. What looks like a trunk is really a column of fibrous tissue packed with water-conducting vessels. That's why they're so flexible. Here's a strange biological limitation. The Australian emu and kangaroo share something surprisingly rare. Neither can walk backward. The joints in their hips and knees are mechanically structured to move in only one direction. That's exactly why both animals appear on Australia's official coat of arms. They symbolize a nation that moves only forward and never back, a political message hidden inside pure biology. At first glance, a black rhinoceros looks unstoppable, but its most impressive tool is its upper lip. It's pointed and prehensile, functioning almost like a human finger. With incredible precision, it grabs branches, strips leaves, and avoids the razor-sharp thorns of acacia trees without injuring its tongue. The white rhinoceros, by contrast, has a broad, flat lip designed for grazing like a lawnmower. Imagine dropping an ant from an airplane flying more than 6 miles above the ground. It would hit the pavement and simply walk away. Ants are effectively immune to falls from any height. Because they're so lightweight, their terminal velocity, the fastest speed they can reach in free fall, is only about 4 miles per hour. At that speed, the impact simply doesn't generate enough force to damage their exoskeleton. Now picture one of the strangest sights in nature. Sperm whales have one of the most unsettling sleeping habits in the animal kingdom. They need to breathe, but they can't sink while asleep. So groups of up to 10 whales gather together, take a breath, and position themselves completely upright. They hang motionless in the water, noses barely touching the surface. From a distance, they look like a forest of alien monoliths floating in the abyss. When early sailors first witnessed it, a rabbit chewing on furniture isn't being naughty, it's fighting for survival. Rabbit teeth never stop growing throughout their entire lives. Without hard objects to gnaw on every day, their teeth would keep extending until they could pierce the skull or prevent the animal from opening its mouth to eat. Starvation would eventually follow. It's one of the most extreme evolutionary adaptations found in common domestic mammals. Hidden inside the Swiss Alps is something that feels straight out of a movie villain's headquarters. Because Switzerland is covered in mountains and lacks vast flat plains, engineers carved military air bases directly into the mountains themselves. You could be hiking through the Alps when a section of fake rock suddenly swings open and a fighter jet blasts out toward a hidden runway in the valley below. The manatee has one of the strangest dental systems in the animal kingdom. The phenomenon is called polyphyodonty. Because manatees feed on plants covered in abrasive sand from river bottoms, their teeth wear down quickly. To solve the problem, new molars constantly grow at the back of the jaw and slowly move forward like products on a factory conveyor belt. When the oldest teeth reach the front, they simply fall out and are replaced by the ones behind them. The Rosetta Stone is one of the most famous rocks in human history because it allowed scholars to decipher Egyptian hieroglyphics for the first time. But the text carved into it isn't a mystical secret or a lost pharaoh's spell. It's actually a boring bureaucratic decree about tax exemptions for priests and an official announcement from King Ptolemy V. In other words, one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of the 19th century is basically an ancient tax document. Mosquitoes don't bite at random. They have preferences, and science has documented them. If mosquitoes seem to target you more than your friend, there's a reason. They're strongly attracted to people with type O blood and to those who exhale larger amounts of carbon dioxide. That gives bigger people, or those who have recently exercised, a distinct disadvantage. It isn't bad luck, it's chemistry. One of the greatest engineering achievements of the 15th century almost sounds impossible. The massive dome of Florence's Duomo was built without ground-supported scaffolding because there weren't enough trees tall enough in all of Italy to construct it. Architect Filippo Brunelleschi solved the problem by inventing a herringbone brick pattern. As the dome curved inward, the bricks locked together mathematically, allowing gravity to hold the structure in place while it was still being built. Nothing like it had been seen before. Volleyball was invented in the year 1895 for the exact opposite reason you might expect. A physical education instructor noticed that the newly invented game of basketball was too intense and exhausting for the middle-aged businessman attending his gym. So he raised a tennis net, designed a softer ball, and created a non-contact sport originally called mintonet. The goal wasn't competition, it was exercise without the risk of a heart attack. That eerie metallic hum near an electrical transformer isn't electricity flowing, and it isn't sparking. It's something called magnetostriction. Inside the transformer are massive iron plates exposed to an electromagnetic field that changes direction 100 times every second. The force causes the metal to expand and contract by microscopic amounts. Those tiny movements vibrate the surrounding air, producing the constant, unsettling sound we all recognize. A giraffe's blood pressure is roughly twice that of a human. It has to be, otherwise blood could never reach its head. But the truly fascinating part happens when it bends down to drink. Specialized valves in the jugular vein and a sponge-like network of blood vessels at the base of the brain instantly regulate the flow. Without that safety system, lowering its head could cause catastrophic pressure spikes. The liger, the offspring of a male lion and a female tiger, is the largest cat on Earth. But its size exists because of a genetic glitch. In big cats, certain genes signal the body to stop growing once adulthood is reached. In lions, that signal comes from the mother. In tigers, it comes from the father. When a male lion and female tiger are crossed, neither provides the normal growth-limiting signal. The result is an animal that keeps growing throughout its entire life. If there were an award for the ultimate traveler, the Arctic tern would win by a landslide. Every year it flies from the Arctic to Antarctica and back again, covering about 43,000 miles. Thanks to this migration pattern, the Arctic tern experiences 2 full summers every year and sees more daylight than any other creature on Earth. It spends much of its life chasing an almost endless day. The dugong, a close relative of the manatee living in the Indian Ocean, faces a unique challenge. It feeds on seagrass growing along the ocean floor. If its bones were light and porous like those of whales, it would constantly float upward and waste energy trying to stay down. Evolution solved the problem with a condition called pachyostosis. Dugong bones are incredibly dense and heavy, acting like a diver's weight belt and keeping the animal anchored to the seabed with almost no extra effort. Some creatures seem to ignore the rules of life itself. Planarians, tiny flatworms, are practically immortal. Cut one into 10 pieces, and each fragment can regenerate a new head and tail, creating 10 separate worms. Even more astonishing, those new worms can retain memories from the original. This remarkable ability has made planarians one of the most studied laboratory organisms in the world, offering fascinating clues for the future of regenerative medicine. There's a reason every school bus in America is yellow, and it's not aesthetics. In the year 1939, the color was officially standardized for a scientific reason. Human peripheral vision detects yellow about 1¼ times faster than red, even in rain, fog, or low dawn light. Drivers process that huge yellow shape almost instantly, significantly reducing the risk of accidents involving children. The Sydney funnel-web spider is often considered the most dangerous spider to humans on Earth, but it hides a bizarre evolutionary twist. Its venom, called delta atrachotoxin, specifically targets the nervous systems of primates, humans, and monkeys. Dogs, cats, rabbits, and birds are largely unaffected. If this spider bites your dog, it may be fine. If it bites you, your nervous system can begin shutting down within minutes. A terrifying biological coincidence. The spectacled bear, the only bear species native to South America, behaves in a way almost no other bear does. These expert climbers snap and bend dozens of branches high in the canopy of towering trees to build enormous nests. They lounge there like giant birds, sleeping safely above jaguars while spending the day eating fruit high above the forest floor, completely detached from the world below. The famous Alcalá Gate in Madrid hides a clever architectural secret. King Charles III commissioned the project and was presented with 2 different designs by architect Francesco Sabatini. The king liked both and couldn't choose between them. So Sabatini did something unexpected. He built one design on the front facade and the other on the back. Stand on one side and you'll see smooth columns with statues of armored children. Walk around and the entire style changes. The Banao rice terraces in the Philippines are so massive that their scale is difficult to comprehend. About 2,000 years ago, local tribes carved the mountainsides of the Ifugao region entirely by hand to grow rice. The result looks like an enormous green amphitheater stretching across the landscape. The terraces are so extensive that if all their retaining walls were placed end to end, they would span roughly half the circumference of Earth. A monumental achievement built without machinery. St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow is not actually a single church. It's a collection of 9 completely separate churches, built on one shared stone foundation and connected by hidden passageways. Each church has its own uniquely styled dome. What appears from the street to be one whimsical building is actually a surprisingly complex architectural puzzle. Why do fish gather in massive schools? Survival. But for 2 very different reasons. The first is hydrodynamics. Fish in the back ride the water currents created by those ahead, saving enormous amounts of energy. The second is sensory overload. When a shark attacks a school containing thousands of flashing sardines moving in every direction at once, the predator's brain struggles to lock onto a single target. The confusion often causes it to miss entirely. Prague Castle isn't a castle in the traditional sense of four walls and a tower. It holds the Guinness World Record as the largest ancient castle complex on Earth. Covering roughly 750,000 square feet, it contains a giant Gothic cathedral, multiple palaces, basilicas, gardens, and even entire streets lined with homes. It's less a castle and more a walled town sitting inside the Czech capital itself. Most people think superglue hardens when it touches air. It doesn't. It cures when it comes into contact with moisture. The tube is sealed in an environment with virtually no humidity, preventing any reaction. The moment the glue leaves the tube, it encounters microscopic water vapor suspended in the air around you. Within seconds, it solidifies. Moisture is the trigger, not air. Crows don't just use tools, they make them. They bend wires, shape twigs, and use them to extract insects from hard-to-reach places. Even more impressive, parents teach these techniques to their offspring, creating a form of technological culture passed from one generation to the next. Studies have shown that crows can solve multi-step puzzles in sequence, a level of problem-solving ability possessed by remarkably few animals. An owl can fly directly past your ear, and you may hear absolutely nothing. Eagles, pigeons, and most other birds create audible wing noise as they cut through the air. Owls are different. The edges of their feathers contain microscopic fringes that act like built-in silencers, breaking large air turbulences into tiny, nearly silent currents. That adaptation allows them to dive on prey in total darkness without making a sound. Saturn's rings are younger than the dinosaurs. We tend to imagine the solar system has always looked the same, but recent studies of gravitational effects suggest Saturn's iconic icy rings did not form alongside the planet itself. They appeared only about 10 million to 100 million years ago. That means Tyrannosaurus rex lived in a universe where Saturn was a smooth, ringless planet, a sight that's surprisingly hard to imagine. Want to see a piece of history still flying today? Denmark's flag, the Dannebrog, is the oldest national flag still in use anywhere on Earth. According to legend, it literally fell from the sky during a battle in Estonia in the year 1219, giving the Danish army the courage to keep fighting. Denmark also has a strange legal quirk. It's technically illegal to burn or desecrate the flags of other countries. Now imagine looking up tonight and finding the moon gone. If the moon vanished, Earth's days would eventually shrink to just 6 hours long. The moon's gravity constantly slows our planet's rotation, and without it, Earth would spin far faster. Those 6-hour days would bring non-stop winds of roughly 300 miles per hour. The seasons would become wildly unstable, and without tides, the oceans would slowly redistribute, flooding huge portions of the continents. Here's something your brain desperately needs, but most people avoid: boredom. When you stare at a wall instead of reaching for your phone, your brain activates what scientists call the default mode network. This is when distant ideas connect, stuck problems get solved, and raw neuroplasticity kicks into gear. If you eliminate every moment of boredom with social media, you're actively suppressing your own creativity. Mental silence isn't wasted time. Ever wonder why static shocks seem worse in winter? It's not the cold, it's the dry air. During summer, humidity coats your skin and continuously drains away excess electrons. In winter, that moisture disappears. Electrons build up inside your body like charge in a battery until you touch metal, and everything discharges at once. The spark has nothing to do with temperature. It's a problem of human electrical engineering. The largest antelope in Africa has a surprisingly loud secret. When an adult male eland walks, it produces a sharp clicking sound that can be heard hundreds of yards away. It's not the hooves hitting the ground. The sound comes from tendons in the knees snapping over bone, in a completely intentional biological mechanism. It serves as an acoustic dominance signal. The louder the click, the larger and heavier the male. A warning system that prevents costly fights before they begin. Most goats run when they're scared. Myotonic goats do the exact opposite. A sudden noise or surprise causes their muscles to lock instantly. They become stiff as stone and fall over sideways. They stay conscious the entire time. It's simply a genetic muscle condition. Historically, some shepherds used them in a remarkably cruel way. They placed one myotonic goat among valuable sheep. If a wolf attacked, the sheep escaped while the goat froze, becoming an easy sacrifice that saved the rest of the flock. At first glance, Chanbauri in India looks like a computer-generated illusion. In reality, it's a giant stepwell plunging 13 stories into the ground through a maze of 3,500 perfectly symmetrical stairs. Built more than 1,000 years ago in the deserts of Rajasthan, it served one purpose: storing water. The temperature at the bottom remains about 11 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the surface. A masterpiece of climate engineering centuries ahead of its time. Blueberries aren't actually blue, they only look that way. They contain no blue pigment at all. Their skins are packed with anthocyanins, which are red and purple compounds. The blue color comes from structural coloration. A natural wax coating on the berry interacts with light, reflecting blue wavelengths back to your eyes. Crush a blueberry open and you'll find pale, greenish-white flesh with dark red juice. The silkworm may be one of the most domesticated animals in history. After thousands of years of human breeding in Asia, it has lost nearly every survival skill. It can't fly, it can't camouflage itself. Its digestive system has become so specialized that it can survive only on mulberry leaves. Give it any other leaf and it can starve while surrounded by vegetation. Imagine a country where your wallet is almost useless. In modern China, daily life runs overwhelmingly through the WeChat super app. People pay rent, buy coffee, schedule doctor appointments, and handle countless everyday tasks through a phone. Many businesses don't even keep change on hand. Street musicians and beggars often display QR codes so people can send money by scanning them. Lose access to your WeChat account, and you can feel almost locked out of modern Chinese society. Most festivals welcome everyone. The Seville Fair does not. Unlike Germany's Oktoberfest, where visitors can walk into nearly any tent, more than 98% of the pavilions at Seville's famous April Fair are private. They belong to families, companies, or social clubs. One of the most exclusive celebrations on Earth. Ever notice how authentic Italian pasta seems to hold sauce better? There's a physical reason. Traditional pasta is pushed through bronze dies that leave the surface rough, porous, and slightly torn. That texture grabs tomato sauce and olive oil like a sponge. Cheap pasta is made with Teflon dies, creating a perfectly smooth, shiny surface. The sauce slides right off because there's nothing for it to cling to. The Roman Colosseum wasn't a giant frying pan under the sun. The Romans engineered enormous retractable fabric canopies called velariums. To operate them, the empire brought in hundreds of highly trained sailors from the Navy. They climbed through the structure, pulling ropes and managing pulleys to move the giant shade system according to the sun and weather. It was an engineering and logistical achievement unlike anything the ancient world had seen. When a ferret is extremely excited, it looks completely insane. It performs a behavior known as the Duke dance, frantic sideways jumps, collisions with walls, and bizarre vocalizations. But this apparent chaos once served a hunting purpose. In the wild, prey animals like rabbits would become mesmerized by the erratic movement, freezing in confusion while the ferret slowly closed the distance. What looks like play may have started as a predator's trick. Before the fire of the year 2019, the roof of Notre Dame Cathedral had a nickname: the Forest. The reason was simple. It was built from more than 1,300 massive oak beams. Many of those trees had already been 300 to 400 years old when they were cut down during the 11th century. That roof contained living wood whose genetic lineage stretched back to the era of the Carolingian Empire. Centuries of history vanished in a matter of minutes. Hidden beneath every sink is one of civilization's unsung heroes. The U-shaped pipe, known as a trap, permanently holds a small pool of water. That simple barrier blocks toxic sewer gases like methane and hydrogen sulfide from entering your home. It also stops cockroaches and rats from climbing up through the plumbing. No electronics, no moving parts. Just a brilliantly simple invention that has protected public health for centuries. From the air, the Polish village of Suwaszowa looks almost unreal. Nearly 6,000 people live along a single road stretching about 5.5 miles. Every house sits beside that road, and behind each one extends a long, narrow strip of farmland. The result is a landscape resembling a gigantic green fish skeleton spread across the countryside. Few settlements on Earth look anything like it. Some rivers flow backward because nature made them that way. The Chicago River does it because humans forced it to. In the year 1900, Chicago completed one of the most ambitious engineering projects in history by permanently reversing the river's flow. Originally, it emptied into Lake Michigan, the city's drinking water source. Since the river carried industrial waste and sewage, engineers built locks and canals that redirected the water toward the Mississippi River system instead. The project helped stop deadly epidemics that had been killing thousands. You need your eyebrows more than you think. A study from the University of Lethbridge found that people struggle more to recognize friends or celebrities when eyebrows are digitally removed from photographs than when the eyes themselves are removed. Eyebrows provide critical structure and contrast that help the brain identify faces quickly. They aren't just decorative, they're a key part of human identity. An elephant's lifespan is measured by its teeth. Unlike most mammals, elephants don't simply get baby teeth and adult teeth. They grow 6 sets of molars throughout life. Each new set slowly pushes the older one forward like items on a conveyor belt. Once the final set wears out completely, the elephant can no longer chew tough vegetation effectively and often dies from starvation. There's a flower that smells like chocolate and technically no longer exists in the wild. Cosmos atrosanguineus, a dark maroon flower from Mexico, releases a remarkably realistic scent of vanilla and milk chocolate when warmed by the sun. The wild population disappeared decades ago. Every specimen alive today comes from a single original plant that was cloned during the last century. Every bloom is essentially the same flower repeated over and over again. The Leaning Tower of Pisa hides a secret almost nobody expects. It's completely hollow inside. Walk through the entrance and look upward, and you can see straight to the top nearly 160 feet above you. No floors, no rooms, no hidden palace. The only structure inside is a spiral stone staircase built into the thickness of the outer wall, winding all the way to the bells above. Those yellow textured tiles near crosswalks and train platforms aren't there to prevent slipping. They were invented in Japan as a tactile language for blind people. Rounded bumps mean stop or danger, warning that you're approaching a road or rail line. Long raised bars mean safe passage and indicate the correct direction to walk. It's a communication system designed to be read by the feet instead of the eyes. The manatee has one of the strangest buoyancy systems in nature. Unlike fish, it has no swim bladder to control its position in the water. Instead, it uses gas trapped inside its enormous intestines. To float closer to the surface, it retains methane and expands its buoyancy. To sink toward the bottom, it releases the gas. In other words, a manatee can partially control its depth using carefully managed flatulence. The oldest continuously operating hotel on Earth has been welcoming guests since the year 705. Nishiyama Onsen Keiunkan in Japan has been run by the same family for 52 uninterrupted generations. It has survived wars, earthquakes, and natural disasters of every kind while keeping its hot springs flowing for more than 13 centuries. Few businesses anywhere can claim a history like that. You've probably heard the kookaburra's famous laugh in movies, but the bird isn't laughing, it's declaring war. Kookaburra families coordinate loud chorus calls at dawn and dusk that sound like collective laughter. In reality, it's a territorial warning, a sonic fence announcing that the area already has owners who are prepared to defend it if necessary. The capercaillie, one of Europe's most impressive forest birds, pays a steep price during mating season. When it opens its beak fully to produce the highest note of its courtship display, a physical fold temporarily blocks its ear canal. For a few seconds, the bird becomes completely deaf. During that brief window, predators or hunters can approach noisily without being detected, a dramatic vulnerability created by reproduction itself. Finally, here's a psychological glitch that affects almost everyone. It's called source amnesia. You remember a piece of information perfectly, but completely forget where you learned it. That's dangerous because it makes rumors and misinformation feel true. Once the source disappears, the brain often treats the information as a general fact simply because it feels familiar. It's one of the main reasons false stories spread so easily through conversations, media, and social networks. Ever wondered why the sky is blue but sunsets turn red? The answer comes down to a single physics principle. During the day, the sun sits high overhead, and its light travels through relatively little atmosphere. Air molecules scatter blue light in every direction, painting the entire sky blue. Your brain plays a strange trick on you every day. It's called the spotlight effect. Get a pimple on your nose or a stain on your shirt, and suddenly you feel like everyone is staring. In reality, about 90% of people are far too busy worrying about their own problems to notice yours. Your brain casts you as the star of the movie, but everyone else is busy watching their own. A simple perspective error that creates a huge amount of unnecessary anxiety. The smallest skeletal muscle in your body might be one of the most valuable. The stapedius muscle is only about 1/25 of an inch long, hidden inside your middle ear. The moment a loud sound hits, it tightens instantly and reduces the movement of the stirrup bone. That lowers the energy reaching your inner ear, acting like a built-in biological volume limiter. A tiny muscle with a massive job. Here's the dark side of teamwork. The Ringelmann effect revealed that when one person pulls a rope alone, they give close to 100% effort. Put 8 people on the same rope, and the average effort per person drops to around 49%. In large groups, individual productivity often collapses because people unconsciously hide behind the collective, assuming everyone else will pick up the slack. 7 pieces, more than 6,500 possibilities. That's the magic of the tangram. This ancient Chinese puzzle looks simple because it contains only 7 geometric shapes. But computer analysis has shown those same pieces can create more than 6,500 visually recognizable figures, from animals and ships to people and objects. It's proof that creativity doesn't require endless resources. It just requires seeing space differently. The Great Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba hides a brilliant engineering trick. The architects who built it didn't create all the columns from scratch. Many were taken from older Roman and Visigothic structures. There was just one problem. Every column had a different height. The ceiling should have been completely uneven. To solve it, Islamic engineers developed the famous double red and white horseshoe arch system. The lower arch rests on the mismatched columns, while the upper arch perfectly levels the roof above. A masterpiece of structural illusion. Here's a surprising nutrition fact. Frozen fruit is often healthier than the fresh fruit at the supermarket. Fresh produce is usually picked while still unripe, so it can survive weeks of transportation by truck and ship. During that process, nutrients can decline. Frozen fruit is harvested at peak ripeness and flash frozen within hours, locking in its nutritional value. Sometimes the freshest fruit is actually sitting in the freezer aisle. The Shwedagon Pagoda in Myanmar looks like something from a fantasy novel. Its exterior is covered with dozens of tons of real gold plating, but the real spectacle sits at the top. The umbrella-shaped crown is studded with more than 5,000 diamonds and 2,000 rubies. At sunrise, the gemstones catch the light and create flashes so intense that pilots flying nearby have reportedly been temporarily dazzled. A temple that literally shines like a beacon. A new bear is emerging because of climate change. It's called the Growler bear. As Arctic ice melts, polar bears are moving south into forested regions, while warming temperatures push grizzly bears farther north. Their territories now overlap, and the two species have begun breeding. The result is a real, fertile hybrid with white fur marked by brown patches. A brand new predator taking shape before our eyes. Those white-stepped roofs on islands like Bermuda aren't designed just to look pretty. Every detail serves a purpose. The step design slows rainwater and channels it into underground storage tanks. The white coating reflects solar heat while also helping purify the water through ultraviolet exposure before it enters the cisterns. The entire roof functions as part of a giant community-wide water collection system. Architecture solving survival. Most countries have an official capital. Switzerland technically doesn't. While everyone refers to Bern as the capital, Swiss law never granted it that title. When the country formed as a confederation of highly independent cantons, leaders deliberately avoided naming a capital to prevent any city from appearing more important than the others. Bern is simply the federal city where the government operates, a political balancing act that has lasted for centuries. The Amur leopard may be the most endangered big cat on Earth. It survives in the frozen forests of Russia and China, enduring temperatures as low as 22 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. To blend into snowy landscapes, it evolved a coat much longer, thicker, and paler than that of its African relatives. Fewer than 100 are believed to remain in the wild, an entire species hanging by a thread. China's nail houses look like something from a surreal movie. Urban development moves so fast that when new highways are built, some homeowners refuse to sell their properties. Instead of forcing them out immediately, builders sometimes construct the road around the house. The result is a lone building standing in the middle of the pavement, surrounded by traffic on all sides like a stubborn nail that cannot be pulled out. Some have become famous symbols of resistance. Salt does far more than make food salty. Its ions physically block bitterness receptors on your tongue, allowing natural sweetness to stand out more strongly. Salt also breaks apart food molecules, releasing aromatic compounds into the air and making food smell better while tasting more intense. That's why a tiny pinch of salt in chocolate or caramel creates incredible depth without making the final result taste salty at all. It's chemistry masquerading as flavor. The cougar is the fourth largest cat on Earth. It can weigh up to 220 pounds and take down full-grown deer, yet it cannot roar. Unlike lions and tigers, the structure of its hyoid bone isn't flexible enough to produce a true roar. Instead, cougars purr like oversized house cats. And when they need to communicate across the forest at night, they emit a high-pitched scream that sounds uncannily like a human being in absolute terror. More than a few hikers have run for their lives after hearing it. Ever notice that flights between continents often seem to take bizarre curved paths near the North Pole? Many passengers assume the plane is avoiding restricted areas. The truth is simpler. Earth is a sphere, while the maps we use are flat and distorted. The curved route, known as a Great Circle route, is actually the shortest possible path between 2 points on a globe. What looks crooked on a map is often the straightest route in reality. Some modern cities are literally built on top of their older versions. In places like Seattle and Rome, historic streets were constantly flooded with mud, sewage, and standing water. Rather than cleaning everything up, engineers often chose a different solution. And that brings us to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe to Zarpado, and share this video with someone who loves learning weird and fascinating facts. They'll thank you for it. See you in the next one.